Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again with another video. This is going to be a continuation of cert-based authentication with VPNs. Now, I just did another video about it. That was for DMVPN Phase 3 with cert-based authentication. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to put the links in the description because this time we're going to do ones on cert-based authentication with FTDs. I said that in the last video, and someone was like, "Hey, could you demo that? Because I've never seen that before." So I'm going to demo security certificate-based authentication on FTDs. Now, the reason why I said I'm going to put links in the description this time and not cards, because you need to watch two specific videos before you watch this one, or you can kind of watch it after you watch this one. One video is going to be how to create certificates using OpenSSL. You need to know how to do that because you need it for this. And it's the last video, which is cert-based authentication with DMVPN, so you kind of get used to how the flow works in terms of certificate-based authentication. All right, so let's go in the lab. Before we do that, though, gotta ask you for a quick favor. If you get any value from this video, like I always say, please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. If I show you value, doesn't cost you nothing but a click. With that being said, let's get to the lab. So y'all seen this lab before. Same firewall lab that I've probably showed you guys a million times. Now, I switched out the Palos that were in this section here, quote unquote, the Bluebell office here, and I moved them to secure firewalls, and then I have secure firewalls up here in the quote unquote New York office, and I have my FMC down here. All right, so let's log into the FMC. Now, the key thing you need to understand about this is it's a lot different than what I showed you in the site-to-site VPN for DMVPN stuff. It's really different. Now, why is that? Because there's not really an individual certificate that you can create for this. When you create the site-to-site configuration, it only asks you for one trust point. So you have to create one trust point that's going to be for every firewall that you're going to do this on. So that kind of rub or the fly in the ointment thing that a lot of people get tripped up on, because they'll create individual certificates, identity certificates, and then when they go to try this, they can only pick one, and it causes a problem. So the first thing you need to do, like I said before, is you need to set up that trust point or that certificate. So you go to objects in PKI and insert enrollment. So the cert I have here is one, I have the CA cert, right? I have that because you see it says CA only. And then I have this the PKCS12 file. Go watch that OpenSSL video that I'm going to put in the links below, in the description below, because you need to know how to do this part, right? So if I open this up, this is a PK, right? PKCS12 file. This is for VPNs. My site-to-site VPN has all the parameters that's in there. Now you're not going to see this here because technically it's a different file structure, so you're not going to see that there. And then now there's something very specific to this certificate, right? And I'm actually going to go into one of my servers here, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to make sure you're doing. Let me just open this up real quick. Now, there is a specific, you know what, I'll probably show it here. Let's go to the CA real quick. There is a specific thing that you need to make sure when you do this, you have configured. Now, the certificate that I'm using is called PLT IPsec. And the application policy for this is IP security tunnel termination. That's the purpose of this. So if I go to manage here, and I actually go to the properties of this, so you have to create the certificate. When you go to extensions, you see this application policy. It needs to be IP security tunnel termination. If you do not have this and you create the certificate, this will not work at all. So that was the little gotcha with the certificate that I need you guys to kind of understand here. I don't know why I got all that in the way. So now you're going to sign it with that template, and then you'll have the certificate. Once you have the certificate, you go to your devices here, and you go to certificates. Now you're going to add that certificate to both FTDs or the number of FTDs you want, because every FTD has to now use this same certificate. If you don't do this, it's not going to work, right? And if you look at my identity, I don't know why I right click there, we go to identity here, all of this is going to come up, right? This is the cert, this was signed by the CA. I just put a basic common name in here, and I put a wildcard in the PKCS12 file. There is a wildcard for the SAN in here. Now, they don't show you the SAN in the certificate on FTDs. So, again, watch that video, the link in the description, on how to create certificates using OpenSSL. Now, once this is all set up, now you can create the site-to-site VPN. So you go to your site-to-site. Now, I already have it up and running. I just have, Bluebell to NY. But let's look at the properties here. And this is going to be a route-based style VPN. Of course, I like route-based over legacy or crypto map style. So you pick your VTI interfaces like you normally do. But when you go to your phase one, what you are going to do is select certificate instead of pre-share key. So there's three ways you can do this. There's manual pre-share key, which I don't know why you would use if you're both using FTDs. I would just use auto pre-share key because nobody really cares at that point, unless you're a stickler like I need to know what the pre-share key is. Just use auto pre-share key if you're using FTDs or secure firewalls in this environment, and you control both ends. This is very important. Controlling both ends is very important. And then you can do certificates. Now, again, just like I said in the DMVPN video, you need to control both sides, because good luck trying to use certificate-based authentication with a firewall that you don't own, because you kind of don't have control over that. But since we do have control over that, we're going to use certificates, and we're going to pick that one certificate that are on all the FTDs or both the FTDs here. You notice you can't pick another one, so you can only pick one. Okay. Once you click that there, it's going to use certificate-based authentication, and then you go over to advanced. Now this is another got you, and you scroll down here to identity sent to peer. Now you have a couple options. You have the IP address, you have the FQDN, and then you got an auto or DN. Now, what I did was the peer. It's a secondary check that could break certificate-based authentication if you don't put a certain value in your certificate. So if you forget to do it, like if you forget to put the host name in there or the IP address in there, you could run into a problem. So all I did was turn off the validation check so it doesn't check that, because it's not my certificate. If you had it in your certificate, then I would say required. So you have three options. You have required, don't check, and supported by cert. I just put don't check, right? Once you do that and you push that certificate out, now you have the site-to-site VPN up and running, right? Now, if we go to our FTD up here, we can validate that we can get there, because the first thing we're going to do is see if the tunnel interface is up. If it's not up, that means your site-to-site technically didn't come up. Like the phase one or phase two is broken, certificate is broken, something is broken because that tunnel interface isn't up. And as you can see, my tunnel interface is up. Second validation is, can I ping the other VTI on the other side? And I believe it's dot two. Yep, I can ping on the other side. So now if I wanted to do, so since it's route based, if you wanted to do some kind of like EIGRP over the top kind of situation, or BGP, which I'm probably going to end up doing because I have BGP on the New York side already. So I'm just going to configure BGP here. You configure BGP, advertise the routes. Once you do that, you're pretty much done. And while I got you here, since I've already done it, that's basically how you would set up site-to-site VPNs using certificate-based authentication. But I'm not gonna just stop there. I'll add in a little bit of extra. Let's go to, we're gonna check the routing here, and we're gonna do BGP real quick. So we're gonna do BGP, enable it. I believe I'm gonna do 65003. I believe I think New York is 65002. Now I usually just do this. You know what? I'll just leave it automatic for now. So we'll do that. We will do IPv4, enable it, neighbor, two, I believe it's 6002. I believe that. I'm gonna enable that. I'm gonna do an AS filter of 1 that's just gonna advertise anything that it has the, remember that caret dollar sign, so it's only gonna advertise my local stuff that I'm gonna advertise out. Anything else is not gonna advertise. So we'll do that. And then we'll do some networks here. Now I believe 10.1.99.0. Okay, so let's create that. 10.1.99.0. We'll do underscore 24. Copy that. And then network address. Just advertise that there. See that. And then let's go to the other side. New York. Routing. I believe BGP is already created. Yep, I was 65002. So we're good there. Not really sure why my general settings is acting up. All right, all that's good. So the BGP. Now what's funny here is I don't see my neighbor statements, which I think is a little weird. There we go. I don't know why that happened. So let's go to neighbor. And let's do the other side. And this is 3. We'll enable it. I'm going to just advertise that because I'm going to create another tunnel for the Bluebell office to go to. Let's see, my networks. All right, I'm already advertising that, so I don't need to worry about that. And we deploy it. Let that go through. Move this over to the side here because when I come back, I want to make sure BGP comes up. Slide this over. Now, again, this is only because I have technically did cert-based authentication and the route-based tunnel is up. So you already got that piece on how to do that, at least demo that. This is just extra add-on how to do BGP in an FTD or secure firewall, whatever they're going to call it tomorrow. So show BGP IPv4. Come on. This is why sometimes secure firewall kind of gets on my nerves when it takes so long to type in the stuff. Summary. Come on. There we go. So we have our neighbor now, and if you do show, we'll just do show BGP IPv4 unicast to make sure we're getting that route from the neighbor. And we are, you can see that's the route there. So we're good to go. We have our next hop. So basically I can get over when I turn on this other machine here, because I am doing DHCP, so I have not turned this on yet. And it's a Mac, so whatever. I can't believe I put a Mac in my lab here. But once I get out to the secure firewall, if I wanted to get over to this Windows machine over here, I can technically do that now over the route-based style VPN that's using certificate-based authentication for its authentication mechanism. So that's how you do it in a nutshell. What do you need to make sure you do? 1, create the certificate in OpenSSL. That's number 1. That certificate is going to be used on every firewall when you want to do this. Number 2, you need to change the authentication method to certificate. Number 3, you need to create the route-based style VPN. All right, well, number 2 and 3 kind of together. Then once the site-to-site VPN is up, you could do this on CryptoMap, but nowadays you should use RouteMap. You know how I feel about that. If the other side support it, and if you control both sides, you should support it, right? Once you do that, now you can do your routing protocol over the top of that VTI tunnel, and then you're good to go. Why is this better than PSK? It's because you don't really have to deal with the issue of, do I remember the PSK? Do I remember that? You know, and how many times, how many migrations I've been in that when you migrate a firewall, you ask the client, hey, do you know the PSK for this? Oh, no. Do you have it written down? No, we really don't. Now you could technically get it if you do the show more, I think it's show more running config command. You can technically get it out of there, but you'd be surprised how many people just don't know the PSK after they set it up. They kind of think firewalls are like set it and forget it, and they forget the PSK. So that eliminates that problem. Plus, it's a stronger and crisp authentication method because unless somebody goes and takes your certificate, you pretty much can't. You don't have to rely on someone guessing it, right? Because in the pen testing world or hacker world, it's only a matter of time, right? Anything is solvable or breakable if you have a lot of time to do it. With certificates, kind of negates that. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope that answered your question. If you haven't already, like I said before, if you got value from this, if I gave you enough value out of this, please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. This is Don from Padlock Technologies again. Thank you and have a nice day.